what would be the next Sonic remake? Hello everyone, I'm OCDsaster, and this is OCDsaster Blue, my Sonic exclusive channel, where everything I do here is Sonic related. So if that sounds like something your speed, consider checking out some other videos after this one. I want to first clarify the difference between a remake and a remaster. A remaster is taking an old game and porting it to a newer, more recent console and maybe upscaling the frames, making it look nicer. So Sonic X Shadow Generations, the Sonic Generations portion, is a remaster. They took the original game that was out for like the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and they made it shinier, more polished, and threw it over to the current console generation, and I believe the PC as well. Remakes are building the game from the ground up. They're taking the old game and they're basically doing it all over again. They're developing it all over again for a more nuanced experience. Think of the Spyro Reignited trilogy. That is a remake. They remade Spyro from the ground up. They didn't take the original Spyro from the PlayStation 1 and just port it over and make it look better. They had to make all the models again, design the levels again, add in the content. They had to do everything again, and that is the difference. It's really blurred in 2025. A lot of times they're used interchangeably when they shouldn't be, but a remake is when you rebuild the game entirely. You go through the whole development process again. You're basically building a new game, but modeling it after an already made game. Whereas a remaster is just taking the old game, the source code, the source data, and just polishing it up for a current or new generation of consoles, PC, what have you. When it comes to Sonic games, I would be fine and satisfied with a remaster of any of these games that we're talking about. But I kind of want to break this conversation down more and talk about a remake, something that I would really enjoy being done from the ground up for a new generation, a new experience. And it's not going to be Sonic Forces. I already have a series on that, and I don't want to make this whole entire thing about that. So don't worry, I'm not going to talk about Sonic Forces here and remaking Sonic Forces. We have a whole separate thing for that. But if we have this conversation and I see from the comment section you guys agree with me or you have a really good idea, I might take off and start another series in the same vein as the Sonic Forces remake. So first you have the obvious one that everyone kind of seems to want, and that is the Sonic Adventure 2 remake. We've had a few remasters of this already. Heck, I play a lot of my Sonic Adventure 2 now for the Xbox because they eventually ported that over and remastered it a little bit. It's not the craziest thing in the world, they only changed a few things, but a lot of people really like Sonic Adventure 2, myself included. It's one of my favorite Sonic games of all time. But it is kind of the one everyone quickly goes to. But I personally think you need to remake Sonic Adventure 1 so that way you can have Sonic Adventure 2. A more realistic take would be they would just do a remaster of both and bundle them together. Sort of like what Nintendo did with Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, and then they also threw in the original Mario 64 remastered, but there was a whole controversy with that in of itself. I would really enjoy a remake of both Sonic Adventures, but I don't think that's the gold ticket. I don't think that's what Sega and Sonic Team are going to do. I think they could eventually lead to that, but there's probably some other things that are a little bit more hot and spicy for them to do. If they did do it, I would definitely want them to make the gameplay similar between both. I know Adventure 1 was kind of the foundation for Sonic Adventure 2. I mean, heck, even Sonic Adventure 1 had a few renditions because DX was for the GameCube version, not for the Dreamcast version. So there's a lot of semantics here. So technically, they would already be remasters, not remakes. But if they were remade, I would want them to seem more cohesive. And maybe even put together to one big game. Like, the story from Adventure 1 just leads right into Adventure 2. I think that would be pretty cool. Polish up the mechanics, make it a little bit more crisp, maybe you have it more in the Shadow Generations boost mechanic style, you could really revisit and revisualize the entire game, and those hub worlds would look beautiful now on next-gen consoles, and then just completely remade. You would have to, because the game's so old. I honestly would really, really like that, but do not see that as a thing coming out anytime soon. Sonic 06 is notorious for being one of the worst, if not the worst, Sonic game in existence. However, through reflection, through the years, people have started to change their opinion on it, myself included. Because when you look at it, when you look past the bugs, the unplayability of certain aspects, and you really dive in to the story, to the character designs, to what they were trying to do, the attempt, it's actually pretty interesting and very bold of them to go into the direction that they were trying to go into. And it's just sad that with the production timeline and the crunch that they had to do, they couldn't fully actualize the vision. I would really like a remake of Sonic 06, but this is most likely never going to happen for a few reasons. One, they don't want to ever put their money on Sonic 06 ever again. Sure, they're now comfortable enough to reference it and laugh at themselves for it, but they would never, ever, ever, ever sell a new Sonic 06. I'm almost guaranteeing that. But what really stops 06 from being remade isn't the kiss with Elise, even though that would definitely have to be rewritten. I think it would be the fact that there's a really good mod out there. The Chaos, I believe is his name, he made a Sonic 06 remaster, basically. And it's free because you can't sell fan-made Sonic games. That's illegal. So people have access to a better, a superior Sonic 06 game. Now, it's not the best. It's not completely finished or completely polished, but it does the job. And I think Sega is very much aware of this. And they're not, one, shutting it down, and two, they're like, oh, they're doing all the work for us for free. We don't have to pay developers to remake this game. Perfect. So Sonic 06, although it'd be very cool to see a remake, it's not going to happen. Hey guys, real quick before I jump back into the video, I want to let you know that memberships are now available for the channel. So for only $1, you can get some interesting perks here on the channel. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider checking it out. If not, you just watching the video helps out so much. Thank you, and let's get back to the video. Sonic Rush was a game that I was really blown away by when I was a kid. It came out for the DS and really utilized that double screen technology. And even though that can't happen on modern games and it would be kind of weird with a split screen, they could really go crazy with a remake. They could really take those levels and not even change them up, but just make them full screen accessible and just really update the, not even the designs. The designs look really cool. I really like the way Sonic Rush looks. Maybe just polish it up for, more superior hardware and really just flush out a story. I didn't play the other Sonic Rushes. I only can speak to the first one, but if they could really, sit down, buckle up, and remake the Rush trilogy and just shove it all together, I think that would be great. I don't know if there's a big enough audience for it, but I would really like to see it, and we would get to see Blaze again, and not just in a side multiplayer sort of thing. Blaze would actually be relevant again, and I know a lot of Blaze fans would really enjoy that. They could even change up the story a little bit to make it a little bit more canon, because as we mentioned before, Sonic 06 kind of ruins the canon of Blaze. So I think this would be a really fun and cool idea, but I don't think Sega or Sonic Team are going to pour the resources into it. I think a lot of people are still just going to play this on the DS. So as much as I would love to see this, it's not going to happen. Sonic Unleashed is an enigma of a game because y'all love it so much now, and I really just don't get it. Now, I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, and I really don't care because I am standing firm in my belief and in my opinion. Sonic Unleashed is not good. The daytime levels are goated and peak, and the Werehog levels and stages are not good. You're all playing mods that polish up the game better and make it seem like this game is actually sustainable. It's not. It's just not a good game. The Werehog bogs down everything, and the music just is repetitive, and you have to do so many different things and options to make your gameplay experience even palatable. So a remake would be perfect. I would absolutely love them to go back and try again. The daytime stages barely need to be touched. They just need to be upscaled a bit. Maybe less of the 2D. I would appreciate that, but that's just a nitpick. And then just completely retune the Werehog to have combos similar to that of Sonic Frontiers. Make it a little bit more comprehensive. Add in different battle music and really have fun and play around with it. The Werehog is a popular character, and Sega and Sonic realized this, and I think this would be the move. However, I see a remaster more likely than a remake. But yeah, you guys are crazy. Sonic Unleashed is not a good game. It is 50% a good game, and then the rest is not great. And I will die on this hill. The opinions changed over the years, and they do all the time for Sonic games, but no, I refuse. I refuse. The game that I want Sega and Sonic Team to remake the most would be Sonic Heroes. I really think that that game is special. It has a special place in my heart for nostalgia, for just the time in my life that I was playing it. I really adore Sonic Heroes. However, I think the remake of that game would be very difficult because you have so many characters, so many mechanics. Yes, they did it way back in like 2002. It was probably later than that. I can't remember the exact date at this time, but it would be a very long haul sort of thing to do. It wouldn't just be a simple port over, and they would have to fix some of the mechanics and physics of the game because the game is not perfect by any means necessary, and I recognize that. But that is the game that I want them to remake the most, but I really still can't see that happening just because of all of the complexities behind it. They would have to take a lot of development time to do that versus working on a new AAA title or a little bit more of a simpler spin-off Sonic title. So as much as I would love a Sonic Heroes remake, and I would probably cry if it got announced, I'm starting to think this is less and less of a possibility. So then, what is the most likely Sonic game to get remade by Sega and Sonic Team? What game has the closest probability to being built from the ground up for consumers to play? Shadow the Hedgehog. Wait. Before you click out or, dislike the video, just hear me out first, okay? Just hear me out. Shadow has become an even more bigger presence in the past few years in Sonic history, not only because they push, the Year of Shadow, but his relevance has just become way more present. To the fact that Shadow's even showing up in promotional artwork for Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. He's like the fourth person popping up in the background, which I personally don't really like, but that's how popular he's becoming, how many people are falling in love with Shadow again and just really taking the time to appreciate this character because he was put in the back burner for quite a long time, which kind of gives more of a reason for Sega and Sonic Team to want to push Shadow. And Shadow Generations did really, really well, so it would make sense to let this guy have a chance again. And it would be really, really risky, but I think if they pulled it off right, it could be awesome. Shadow the Hedgehog is an interesting Sonic game. It is not good by any means. I can't sit here and, in good faith be, talking crap about Sonic Unleashed, but then praising Shadow the Hedgehog, because Shadow the Hedgehog is not a good game. There's a lot of story elements that are a little bit rough, gameplay mechanics that are iffy, and they just really tried to do something edgy and it just didn't fully work. But this gives them the chance to correct themselves. Does Shadow still get guns? Yes. Does the gameplay still revolve around a multi-path where you can choose to do hero missions, neutral missions, or villain missions? Yes. Do you still have Black Doom as the main protagonist? Of course. Can you still, shoot, a bunch of people? Oh yeah. You gotta keep those elements in to have a Shadow the Hedgehog game. But the remake could have a chance of redemption. It could actually find a way to make the gameplay fun and cohesive. You could be playing a situation sort of like shadow generations, where you're boosting through a stage for one section, and then you get into another section, and you have to pick up a weapon and start, downing fools to then go back to the boost mechanic. You could have a lot of fun with this, and Shadow the Hedgehog provides a lot of fun and creative stages to play on, and they don't even need to really rework the story so much. They might just need to rewrite some of the lines and some of the things. I think this is a high possibility, just because of how popular Shadow's becoming, and because it's such an out there choice as a spin-off game that they could probably get away with it. There would be a lot of people on the internet talking. There's a lot of Shadow memes and a lot of Shadow love and appreciation, and I wouldn't be surprised if Shadow the Hedgehog got a remake. But I'm curious, what do you guys think? Do you think I'm correct? I have a feeling a lot of you think I'm crazy. And I might be, but that's fine. We all are here to celebrate Sonic and Sonic games and share our thoughts and opinions, so I would love to read them down below. Don't forget, I have tons of other videos and playlists here on the channel, so you can check out all of those after this video. I'm OCDsaster, and I hope you have a super Sonic rest of your day. See ya.